My name is Dylan Malone. I'm a senior iOS and Unity developer at a Seattle tech company called UIEvolution. And I want to talk about, that was an extraordinary product, but I want to talk about how we can create more of a sense of wonder than we often do today with existing tool sets, without introducing new hardware to the equation, using some of the major tools you're familiar with, the Vuforia tool set, the Mateos tool set while it existed, Wikitude, some of the others. So the key, I think, is to avoid at all costs PBS, not Cookie Monster and Nova, that's fine, but the sort of pop-up book syndrome that does tend to plague AR applications. And so I'll start by taking through, we have a couple products in market you can take a look at. They're free. This is Astray. It's an iOS and Android game that we wrote. It's about as close as you'll see us get to a pop-up book experience, because you do just take your phone or your tablet and point it at a surface, take a picture, and it becomes your game board. But we go a little beyond. For one thing, we use procedural terrain. It's got this sort of Celtic, mystical world we create. And it procedurally generates these mazes that you have to escape from on whatever surface you took a picture of. But the trick is, if you're going to get that literal, if you're going to create the classic, take a target, point your phone at it, a little guy comes out and waves at you, and that's your experience, I suggest you exploit the paradigm of AR a little more deeply. So in our case, what we do is the play surface is part of the game. You can pick it up, tilt it about, and the little ball will move with realistic physics through so you play the entire game without even touching your phone if you like, which helps make a more convincing sense of reality as you're playing the game. The AR seems much more organic, much more alive, and much more real. Let's get past Astray. I'll show you another example. This is also, again, both of these products are on Google Play and on the iOS App Store. This is Shatter Isle. It's a little bit more sophisticated than Astray. Not by any means is this a pop-up book experience. This is one of the very first and one of the only games that uses the Vuforia Smart Terrain feature. If you saw that, they announced that last year about this time. And so in this game, we take the entire play surface and make it part of the game. You know, a box of cereal, a can of soup, a Coke bottle, the edge of your table, all of that stuff matters when you play this AR game. So you look at the target, and you can see a Qualcomm promo video for the game here. But anyway, it all reacts. In fact, it even solves, let's go to the next frame, you can see it better. It even resolves one of the holy grails of AR, which is real world objects can occlude the augmented objects. So, you know, if you, in this game, it's a sort of a 3D physics puzzler. And if the little island full of bad guys that you're trying to shoot ought to appear to be behind a can of soup or a Coke bottle, indeed the Coke bottle will occlude it, will cover up the island behind it, which is a very tricky thing to do in augmented reality. But the point I'm making here is that none of these require advanced, you don't need an RGBD camera if there's devs in the room, a camera that does depth. You don't need special hardware. These are off-the-shelf, widely available tool sets. Because I think, frankly, that we tend to sell AR a little short, and it's a little more profound and a little more exciting than some of us have made it so far. The fact that your computer can now see has implications that go way beyond a children's pop-up book. Let's move on to another slide. I don't want to, because this is such a short time, I don't want to keep putting movies and demos up there. I'll just describe a couple other products and then leave time for questions. Some other things we've done with AR using normal tool sets that you've all heard of. Sign translation, not optical character recognition style sign translation, OCR. That's sort of like closed captioning for the world, of machines automatically translating what it sees. But instead, we had artists go to museums and zoos and theme parks and hospitals and recreate the signage, complete with the weathering and rusting and the typography and the colors in whatever language you want. So it doesn't look like augmented reality at all to the person using it. Everything looks completely ordinary until you move the device out of the way and you're like, oh, that's not in German. That's actually in English. Or what. The point being, again, it's a little bit more subtle than just, and a little bit more useful, frankly, than these pop-up book experiences. Another thing we've done, there's a debate that they're hosting tomorrow that I can't wait to see, where they're weighing the merits of augmented reality versus virtual reality. And one of the most powerful things you can do is intermix the two. This requires no more special hardware than a set of Google Cardboard glasses or an Oculus Rift or a Samsung Gear. Virtually any headwear will work. And we've written a thing, you may have seen products before that people put on their desks, like a Zen garden, and they rake the sand about. We made an augmented reality version of that where you'd arrange these little frame markers about, and one might have a bird feeder, another might have a beautiful oak tree with little squirrels. You arrange the pieces you want out of a deck of these little cards, you create these beautiful scenes, and when you have it just the way you like it, you touch the side of your head and you have this sort of through the looking glass moment where you shrink down and enter the space. So you used AR as sort of an augmented reality level editor, and now it's a virtual reality scene that you can play inside. And that's very surreal. If you've ever crossed over from AR into VR and then back again, it's a beautiful experience. And one last thing, in order to leave a minute and a half for questions, I'll just say, don't underestimate the power of the pose estimation algorithm. If you're a dev, you know what that is. And if you're not a dev, it's just the thing that in AR that lets your mobile device know with almost pixel perfect accuracy where it is in relation to the thing you're tracking. And there is incredible power inside the pose estimation algorithm that can do a whole lot more than just pop up a character in Wave. One of the things we've done with it is use it in real estate flyers to make these sort of helicopter flyovers of the home that you're thinking about buying just pop right out of the page, because it's quite difficult to move a camera in 3D space. Anyway, so I'm here mostly to talk about the creative side of the business, but I am a developer if you have any engineering questions. So I got about a minute for questions.
Questions for Dylan?
So what's your business model? I mean, are you what's your business model?
Good question.
Yeah.
So UIEvolution is in hospitality and automotive, so both industries where computer vision is fascinating and probably underutilized. So we make the software inside mini car dashboard systems, and we make the television software that powers a lot of cruise ships and hotels. And we have a small little group, my group, that experiments with the cutting edge to look for ways that some of this technology might belong in our core business.
How many downloads have you had for your whole company so far?
The question was, how many downloads have you had for your company so far?
I don't have the numbers with me enough to please us. They get substantial use. Neither of these products were meant to have a direct ROI. That's why they're free. They don't have ads or anything in them. So there's no analytics built into those products.
So that's about all the time we have for questions. Thank you very much, Dylan.